What is up guys, welcome to CJ's Vlogs and welcome to another video. Today we'll be taking an in-depth look at the Ferrari Roma. Okay, so we are back with the Ferrari Atelier, as we have been with the F8 Tributo and the F8 Spider and the SF90. The 812 GTS was the previous video, and today we'll be speccing our latest model, the Ferrari Roma, which is a beautiful two-door, 2+ hardtop coupe with 455 kilowatts and 760 newtons, which is massive power because that is essentially the same amount of power, same amount of torque that's in the 488 GTB in a more different configuration, which is the GT body shape that is the Ferrari Roma. Now that we're in the configurator, let's go to we can go to Fiorano, which is essentially one of the areas we can use to spec cars, which is always great because it shows you the color in the sun. But I think we should maybe go into the new Atelier afterwards. But let's start, as we have with many of the other spec-in videos, with the paint colors. Now, again, the 3 launch cars that they used when the car was launched in Roma was actually Bianco Italia, which is a beautiful 3-layer white paint. Let me actually go to it. As you can see it there, incredibly beautiful color. But the white, I think, on this car is great, but I don't like the way it wears it because white always makes the cars look bigger than they are. And then the other color that they launched was the Rosso 70th anniversary, which also fantastic color. And then the last color was actually the launch color of this car, which is Blue Roma. Now this color, some colors just seem like they just absolutely fit the car. You know, like the 812 has the Rosso 70th and the Grigio 812 Apaco, and that just makes, you know, it just is the perfect color for this car, and I love blue. So Blue Roma looks absolute perfection on this car. Now you'll notice that this car doesn't currently have badges on it. If we place a badge on it, there you can see that it's identified as a Ferrari. But the beautiful thing is that without the badges, it's very understated, in a darker color, very clean, still retains its elegance and its sporty look. But it's a new generation of Ferrari, and same with the F8 design language, with the SF90 and now the Roma. It's all shifting into this new generation of design language. And as you know, 16 colors is standard, both solid colors and metallics. I think Blue Pozzi also looks great on this car. Rosso Mugello looks very nice on the car, but we'll try and stay away from the red. Blue Tour de France is always a winner. Grigio Ingrid, if you want to really go, you know, off the wall. Argento Nürburgring, Blue Mirabeau. Grigio Titano is actually one of the colors that we're going to do one of our demos in, and it looks absolutely great on this car. And then you go into your Ferrari historical colors, your additional colors like your Bianco Cervino, which is like a super ice white. Now, interesting thing about Cervino is one of our clients was at Mont Blanc, which was a ski event with Ferrari and a snow driving event, and he said Bianco Cervino is so white, so pastel, so ice that he couldn't even see the snowflakes falling on the car. That's how white this color is. Grigio Medio, which is sort of a primer gray, very similar to Nardo gray on the Audi offerings. Vinaccia, which is a deepish purple marrone, also flat color, looks great on this car. Celeste, which is a vintage paint as well. And then we've got our 2-layer paints of Rosso 70th, Blue Knot, Rosso Corsa Metallizzato, Nero Stellato, and Blue America. So for the sake of this, I think let's go with the, you know, you've seen the launch color. Let's try and find a color that's very appealing. A Grigio Ferro looks nice. How about a canna di fucile, which is a gunmetal grey? We'll go with that. In this case, let's leave the badges off, because let's think about this car as being your everyday driver. You're going to use this car every day, so we want to keep it a little bit more understated, a little bit more clean. So we'll also keep the badges off. Since the grille on this car will be the same color as the body color, we can absolutely leave that because it's essentially the same already. Now the wheel options, you have your standard wheel as it's shown here. Then you've got your chrome painted with your matte grigio corsa, which is like also a Scuderia grey as we call it, which is a slightly darkened grey. You've got your forged rims, which is a 2x5 spoke, and then that also comes in a darker paint color, but when it's in diamond cut it just looks incredible. And of course, once you go with your brake calipers, with this car we're going conservative, but you can see there's offerings of black, red, Rosso Scuderia, which is a brighter red, a Silverstone grey, which is always beautiful, yellow will really be pronounced, aluminium, which is more understated, blue if you want to be a bit, you know, chinky, and then gold, which is for certain applications. But I think for this, since we're going with the gunmetal grey, maybe just to liven up the car, we'll leave it on the aluminium caliper, and then to also make it even more elegant but not neglecting the sportiness, we can put a carbon fiber wheel cap and make those wheel caps grey, and then it's really understated. There's no yellow across the board on this car. Of course, the sport tips, let's go with the black ceramic tips, and of course with this car you can have a carbon fiber front spoiler, which looks great. Now with this car, for me, you've got to either do the carbon on the outside or on the inside. If you do both exterior and interior, I think that can be a lot, because again, this is a GT car and we want to retain that. But let's, for the sake of this, do all the carbon fiber on the outside, which is the carbon fiber front spoiler, the underdoor cover which runs along the side of the doors, the rear diffuser of course, and the rear boot trim. So now with the rear boot trim, that is essentially the spoiler that's on the rear, and that is essentially your exterior. With the Roma, it's not too complicated of a car, so it's very simple to nail the outside. But for me, let's go really clean and really understated with the overall look. On the interior, I'm going to keep the black, and this is where we can maybe get a little bit more exciting, because we'll use a main color as, let's do the main color as Nero, which is black, and then we can go for the backrest, we can go Daytona style or squared pattern. We'll leave all that as standard. Functionality, your fully electric seats or your ventilated fully electric seats. One would use ventilated fully electric seats for this sort of application, and of course we want to go for, maybe we should go for yellow detailing or red detailing. Let's go for red detailing. Let's make this car look exciting on the inside. And you can also choose a dual leather color, so we can go for the leather inserts in Rosso Ferrari, and maybe we'll go for red stitching. So you have STC1, which is your standard stitch thread, and then you have STC2, which is your Filo Speciale stitch thread, which is a little bit thicker, a little bit more stitching, but both are the same price. In this car you also have Azzurra and Arancio, which is new threads that they're offering in this car. We'll go for red horses on the headrests, and maybe we'll go for red belts. I feel like the red is overkill for the moment, but once we step inside, we will see. Also, I love colored mattes with logos. It's a standard black matte in this car, and it will have red stitching on. Just a little bit of a, a little bit of a homage, a little bit of a reminder. Definitely an aluminium footrest for both the driver and the passenger. Let's actually go inside the car. Ooh, that looks gorgeous. Now I think that is just the right balance of red. Now let's change the view among our many views. Let's go to that view. Now this looks fantastic, but I feel like we're being overwhelmed by the amount of red, and also the red seat belts and the piping and the stitching are not blending well together. So let us neglect the red belts, and let us take the red piping off here, just so that we have the stitching, and we have the, let's go for, so we just have the stitching and the dual interior. So as you can see, when you choose your dual leather insert interior, you'll have your entire underdash, your central tunnel, your door panels, and interesting, the back of the seat, the rear seat, in the red leather. So as you can see, that's a great option. If we wanted to go for the carbon fiber on the interior as well, we could go for the steering wheel and the LEDs, which now comes with the paddles as well. And then your dashboard inserts, which will be on top of the middle screen, and then right through the dash on either side. The upper tunnel trim, which is where your gear selector is, and your exterior sill kick. The sill kick is the silver piece on the door, where it says Ferrari would normally be in silver, would now be in carbon fiber, but I would not put too much carbon on the inside of this car. We can leave the carbon for the outside and allow all those silver bits to be enjoyed in this car. And then finally, now with your equipment, this is where it gets really interesting, because again, the application that we're creating for this car is that it's a daily driver. You know, you want all those nice systems. So with Ferrari, you have the Ferrari ADAS, so definitely we want the surround view, which is essentially your 360 camera. So you've got a camera on the front grille, you have a camera on the rear boot lid, and you've got two little cameras underneath the side mirrors, and then that gives you a complete 360 view, which will be on your center console. If you want to go for the ADAS full package, you can have the advanced front driving camera, your front radar, and your back radar, or you just choose full ADAS package and you have the lot. And with that comes predictive braking, adaptive cruise control, a brake warning if cars are coming. You know, if you're in a parking lot and you're racing out, it detects cars that are coming. Sort of everything you need to assist you, especially if daily drive, of course, you're sitting in traffic. You just leave the car and it follows the car in front of you in traffic, or you set it on the highway. It's really cool features that they bring into this car. Of course, we want to add the Magna-Ride dual mode suspension that will give us the ability to suffer the suspension when we need. Now with this car, it's got the race mode as well, not like your typical GT, which just has comfort, sport, and ESC off. So we're gonna, when we want to be exciting, we go into race mode, and then if the roads are a bit hard, then we still click the Magna-Ride and it softens the suspension. Essentially like bumpy road mode. Definitely want the active matrix LED headlights, because, you know, at night we're going to have that AFS. We want the lights to point in the corners when we're going for drives, and it adds to, you know, the overall assistance and creating a car that makes you want to drive it all the time. We've got our 488 Pista in the garage, maybe an 812 GTS. This is the Ferrari Roma. This is your everyday driver. Garage door openers, look, in South Africa it's not too prominent, so we'll leave that out. If you're in a European or American or Asian country, these are very prominent options, so I recommend choosing it. Heat insulating windscreen, definitely an option. So the windscreen is insulated, so it keeps the cold out and it keeps the heat out. Also, keeping the heat out protects your upper dashboard in the long term. Passenger display, you can see it's a little passenger display as in the 812 Lusso Portofino. I love it. It's a great option. I would keep it off this car because, you know, if I had to have this, I don't foresee having many passengers that much that I'd have to have a passenger display. But if you're going to be sharing this car with someone and you're driving through the mountains and you're going on trips, definitely a passenger display is recommended. High power hi-fi, Apple CarPlay, definitely. And option, you can either have your front bumper covered in chipping foam from the factory or the anti-stone chipping foam. I've noticed in recent, a lot of more customers are going with the chipping foam straight from the factory, because, you know, then you don't have the slip of coming here and having the paint possibly damaged in transit, and then you have to repair it, or maybe you have to get it prepped and then you have to add the chipping foam. Spec it from the factory, easy. Foldable rear backrest, definitely. That's the two rear seats that will drop. I would want that because I would want to put golf bags in. Smoking kit, not for me, thank you. Can I have Michelin tires And look, if you want a fire extinguisher, I know it is mandatory in the Gulf region, but we don't need that in South Africa. This is a GT car. Leave it for the special cars. And I would want Michelin tires. You can choose from Pirelli, Bridgestone, or run flats, which is also cool considering the frequency of the use of this car. And also this interior is so beautiful, you know, it inherits the steering wheel and the cluster from the SF90 Stradale, and even the gear selectors are so classic. But this car is just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I did post on my Instagram story that I'd want this to be a future daily car, and it's just incredible. It's so understated, yet so sporty and elegant. So if you have any spec ideas, definitely put them in the comments and let's spec one together. Maybe we'll do a viewer spec. I would do it as this is, but an incredible car the Ferrari Roma is. And once it comes to South Africa, again, as I've done with the F8, and hopefully we'll get to see this early next year, so I can shoot a walk around, and during the walk around we'll really go in depth for it. So if you don't want to miss out on that, be sure to subscribe. And if you've enjoyed this video and you've enjoyed the insights, especially if you're going to be ordering the car just to have an insight to options before you go to your dealer, definitely you can email me, contact me, ask me any questions about the car. If you're a viewer and enthusiast, also definitely do it. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.